Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's video is a video that I absolutely love. This is our very own kitchen island walnut epoxy table. Took me way longer to build it than it probably should have. You most definitely can't build it in these 12 minutes. So here you see me ripping down these. I got this whole thing is poplar, minus the insides. So here I'm making my own shiplap boards. You can go buy your own shiplap boards, or you can make them the right way. Just make sure that they have a half lap gap on both sides, and there's plenty of videos out there of actually kind of more detailed of why this is and how to set everything up. But I use my shaper table to do this. It has to be opposite sides on both ways, as you can see here. Once you get that done, there's a whole bunch of sanded done. I cut all my sides, the front, anything that was poplar that was about to be stained. I sanded it down 40 grit all the way up to 320, and so on. So and then once you get everything sanded, you can see everything is nice and ready to go. Love the way poplar looks without any kind of stain or nothing. So here I'm doing the legs, what I call the legs, the sides of the island. I'm just using pocket screws to attach those each corner. And while I have a second, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up. Really helps me out. Really helps me get my videos out there. We just finished our house and my new shop, so I'll have a few videos on each one of those coming up soon. But so this is by far, I think, my best build that I've had. But so here I'm just attaching those shiplap boards, attaching the bottom one to the legs or the sides. Once you get one of them attached, you can lay it down, and then you start building the shiplap boards. Here you can use a nickel, piece of metal, whatever you have, however far you want the boards spaced apart. And I will say, don't go by my measurements. My measurements are kind of for reference of what I used. Measure your own thing so that it doesn't throw you off in the end or whatnot. So, but once you get all the front of the shiplap boards on, you can start the side trim pieces. I've done the sides and then built the insides. So here you just see me attaching the actual trim first, and then I come back and I do the X on each side. I just lay the board across where I want it. Do the longest piece first. Take a pen, cut it, or take a pen, draw it on there where you want your cut to go. There's no point in doing more math than what you have to do. I'm really good at math, but I choose to try to keep things simple. So once you get that, go over to the saw, miter saw, adjust your angle, cut it to where you need. Pocket screws for the back of this, and so on. So and then once you get to the side, the other side, you can see the pocket holes and all those. It's the same concept for the opposite leg of the X, except for you're just going to have two pieces. I usually mark me a little line on the back of like the top piece, just so I don't get them confused when I go to my saw and I end up cutting the two pieces. Make sure everything's clamped down, draw a line, and make your 4 cuts here. So same concept, like I said. Everything's linked below. All the measurements I had. It's a long list. I'm sure that I missed a few. I might have messed something up, but you get the gist of how to do it. If you've even been around woodworking, if you're trying to do this yourself, the base isn't bad. The epoxy top that I used, it was the first time that I did the epoxy, so I most definitely had some learning curves, and I actually didn't. I videoed some of the process. I am no expert in the epoxy. I said I had some mess ups. I had some pointers, some tips, that I would tell the next person. But this is most definitely a advanced build. The base of this cabinet wasn't bad at all. Like I said, once you get to this step, you put the front of it on. I actually I guess my camera messed up. I didn't get the video of the guts of the kitchen itself, but like I said, you can go look at most of my videos that have drawers, like my last one, the bathroom vanity. You can watch it. It's about halfway on. It shows you the how I do the drawer slides, the guts of the drawer, how I built the drawer, and then the cabinets itself. I think they're all self-explanatory. You just put the base down, and then you just build two little supporting shelves, and then the one across the top, and that's really all the inside cabinets you have. So, but here I'm doing the sides, making sure all the shiplap lines up itself. You tack those down with pocket screws, and then you can attach the top, which would what would be the front. You can attach that to the outside trim piece with some 1 1/4 inch screws. So this piece I'm working on here is the front, the backside trim. So that's this piece. Like I said, I stained everything kind of previously. Took my time doing this whole build. Tack those in, another 1 1/4 inch screw. And then once you get that part, you can move on to the underside base. So the whole base of this, I usually use some 1x4s. Usually I use like a 2x4 or whatnot, but these were just handy, so I use these. As you can see, all my other stuff is in the back. I was way too busy to really even be doing this, but so I just used some. I think there were 2.5 inch screws. Attach the base, attach the outside, then you set that in. I wanted plenty of support. I don't know what my wife plans on putting in here, as far as cabinets or pots, pans, whatever. So, just have a few support beams across the middle. And then here, this is the screws I'm going to use to attach the face of it, and then to the back side. So this is me attaching the very outside face. You just using the pocket hole screws that you use on the shiplap boards. This is me actually attaching the base to the outside shiplap boards that we had. And then this is kind of just a very overview of where I'm at this point. You can see the screws, you can see all the pocket holes facing forward. This was before I put the outside face part on. And then this is what this is. Me going back, building the outside. It's just I measured, so the thickness of the wall is going to be like 1.5 inches. So I cut the outside pieces at 1.5 inches. The top, that's just your preference. The bottom is however thick the very base is, and then you attach those with the pocket holes on the outside, and then you use the 1.25 inch screws from the base into the bottom of the face. Once you get that done, you can attach those, and then attach it to the front of the front of the island. And here you can see me attaching the pocket holes to the front of the island. This is very needed to be as square as possible. So when you do all the drawers, and you don't want your drawers being thrown off and so on. And then you can do this is another preference. However deep you want your drawers. I think mine might have been 6 or 7 inches. I don't remember what exactly I did. And then pocket holes on the inside of that, the long piece. Then from there, it's another preference of how many drawers you want. I used 4. You can do 3, 2, 1. It doesn't matter. But this little dividing block kind of tells you how many drawers. If you need 4 drawers, you gotta have 3 of these, or so on. And you just divide those out accordingly to where you want the drawers, and so on. And these are another thing. Having them to be almost perfectly even will save you a lot of time when it comes to do the drawers. Like I said, I just run some pieces of pine from the face to the back, and that's what the drawer slides run along. Again, I apologize for not being able to get those in this video, but you get the point. Like I said, you can watch the other video of how I've done the drawers and so on. So this is just attaching the face. Same thing with the cabinet doors. Just having however many cabinets you want. So this is the form of the epoxy top. I use black walnut for the middle, pine. I bought a piece of plywood. You have to sand all the bark. As you can see there, you got to sand all that bark off. Take a chisel, get all the bark off you can. Actually end up putting another piece of black walnut in there. Here you can see this is the form. You have to have release tape on the bottom. I'd most definitely recommend using Tyvek's wrap instead of the release tape. It just gets a better fit, gets a better form. Again, there's thousands of videos of actually how a better way. I watched a million of them to try to do this. I'll link the epoxy and everything below that I used. The pigmentation and all that, you have to mix it. One of the most important parts, you have to mix it for like 5 minutes. And then once you get that mixed, make sure everything is, as you can see, the silicone on between the release tape and the boards, just so that the board doesn't come floating up. This ended up being like 11 gallons of epoxy. So just this top alone was a lot. A whole lot of time, a whole lot of elbow grease, a whole lot of money. But it came out, I think it came out very good. I did have a few issues. Things that you're not going to see in the video, but I ended up mixing 2 types of epoxies. I thought the epoxy had cured, but it hadn't, and I had like a few cracks on the other end. Actually, on this end of the video, you don't see it in this video, but I ended up filling those in with just more epoxy. So here you have to get all the air bubbles out. And by doing this, you get a blowtorch. Once you run it across the epoxy, it pulls all the bubbles up, and you have to do this continuously over like a 4 or 5 hour span. And this also in this video, this is before I went back and put more epoxy in there. So I actually ended up running out, and this is the fully formed epoxy table before it is even before it's finally finished. And then the very last picture is you can see all the cabinetry on the inside. You can see how I've done the drawers. I'll link the handles. Everything's stained, special walnut. Like I said, you can see the you can make the inside part how you want it. Like I said, I chose 4 drawers with 4 cabinet doors. You can do 3 and 3. You can do whatever, 5 drawers on top, 3 on bottom. It just doesn't matter. It gives you the option of how you want to do it. But like I said, thank you again for watching my video. Greatly appreciate the subscriptions, the likes, the comments. If you have any questions, please, you can ask me below. I'll try to link everything that I can remember to link. So there's plenty of epoxy tables, tops out there. People who go way more in depth than I did. It was my first time, so I didn't want to try to sound like I was a professional, which I am not at doing the epoxy stuff. But thank you again.